All right, I'm just going to do a quick off-the-cuff review of the Warrior RX3 Pro Plus chest protector. I've been using this probably for probably 4 or 5 months now. And at first I was sort of iffy on it. To be honest, it's quite bulky. It's a little bit hard to fit in some jerseys. I guarantee you'll have to probably size up if your jersey's on the edge. This thing's pretty bulky. But at the same time, when I was looking at, like, if you look at Markstrom's chest protector, like, there was some guilt associated with having a chest protector the size of this. But then you look at some of the NHL goalies and what they're getting away with. Nothing against Markstrom, he's an amazing goalie. But if you look at what they look like in their equipment, you're like, okay, well, I guess something's going on. I'm a beer leaguer, it doesn't matter that much. So prior to getting this chest protector, I was using a Kineski one. I feel like that chest protector kind of requires you to use a padded undershirt. I'm not a big fan of using those. I just like using the basic base layers. So I was talking to Kirk about this chest protector because I'm like, well, I've used Devon. I like mixing it up, and I'm already in a bunch of Warrior stuff. So why not ask about this and see if I can order a Pro version of it? And it turns out that the retail version is the Pro version. I asked Kirk Allen about this, and he said that Jeremy Smith is using the off-the-shelf retail version. I'm pretty blown away by that because there's no chest protector that I see that's off-the-shelf unless it's custom for the shop, which nothing wrong with that. I think that's kind of neat that certain shops can have their own mods and whatnot. It gives you a somewhat unique retail experience. But with this one, I could go to any shop, buy this model, and feel ready to play against pros. Hesitant, to be honest, when I heard that. You say pro on a lot of these models. I don't think it's very, I think it's sort of sketchy to name these things pro if they're not going to actually stand up to that. I've worn a number of chest protectors that have said that off the shelf, and it just doesn't work. I mean, you've heard it a million times if you follow any of the goalie gear stuff, that you know that the pro retail stuff does not stand up to what a true pro can do, but it sells units. So going into this one, I was hesitant, and I wore it for a bit. The first thing I noticed was like, I have to wear a different jersey. I can't fit into my other jerseys. And then eventually this year I was able to skate with the Black Aces during the Wild playoffs. And it was kind of the big test. I'm like, okay, well, if I can get in one of those Adidas jerseys that are an NHL approved jersey, then I can use this kind of guilt-free. And the fact is, I can fit in one of these. Like, the arms are on the elbows here. It's a little stiff, but at the same time, if you look at any NHL goalie, it looks like they're pretty snug on those points too. So that kind of alleviated any like cheater guilt I had wearing this. And the fact that, I mean, you just look at pictures. Just look at pictures, and I'm like, okay, well, I'm not anywhere near as big looking as Markstrom is when I'm hunched over. I guarantee that. So using the unit itself has been amazing. Like, it's kind of eye-opening. I actually use this for a little bit. I'm saying it's like, oh, I haven't adjusted it quite right. You get that early, like, what did I do here? How am I going to make this work? I went back to my Kineski, and then I realized right away, I'm like, oh my God, the arms are so much more stiff. The traditional arm for me was extremely stiff feeling compared to what this system. And I know, like, Bauer has their own system as well, and I think that's a great one. Actually, I kind of wonder, with Bauer's, it kind of creates a flat plane that pushes out further. I think that's interesting, but in any case, with this one, it bends so easy. It's nothing. Like, you really just feel like you're wearing a chest protector, but there's no restriction on your arm, and that's such a good feeling when you're like getting up, or like just your general mobility. It's nice to not have any hindrance, and you might not notice as much until you go back to something else, and then you're like, wow, I miss having this mobility. It's something that you didn't know that you wanted, and I think most of the chest protectors are going to have that kind of thing here now. So one thing that I noticed, that when I had a really tight jersey, that this would kind of mush up. Like, it wouldn't sit right. It would kind of mush up in here. So just make sure you're not wearing a jersey that's way too way too tight, because that will interfere with how this acts in general. Like it could stop you from like pushing in here, like if it gets bound up right here. So this is a crucial piece in its mobility. It moves like that. So protection wise, I haven't had any issue at all. I'm like, okay, well, a lot of my skates, I skate with like ex-pro guys and they're not afraid to tee up. So you feel the hard shots, like, okay, that's pretty good. I know I'm safe. Like you feel it in the sense that like it's on my arm and like no bruises. I don't think I've maybe had one bruise, and that was at a literal NHL practice or NHL level player taking a full slap shot and it hit my arm. Never off the elbows where these kind of bits are here. Like kind of, I don't know what the material is, but it's kind of like a plasticky feel. And yeah, for adjustments, I highly recommend you play around with it before you just kind of give it a verdict. I brought these off further to the side. These were kind of bothering me a fair amount when I was looking over my shoulder. I could probably drop them more, but I feel like I'm in a good balance right now. This I have pretty much at the first R. I'm 6'1", 6'2"-ish. I have this fairly snug. I do tuck. I took out the belly pad because I do tuck. Part of me has wondered if I want to try going back to untucked. It looks like a lot of goalies are going back and forth on that now. I'm willing to try a lot of things, so I don't know. But right now this is working out amazing for me. I get my suspenders nice and snug. Get this pretty snug so it's up against my body. Have these further out on the side here. And I just kind of lined up this Velcro with a bottom here. So yeah, these are pretty snug here. I don't know what else to really say about this thing. It's extremely protective. It's the first retail bit that I can actually say now that I recommend it wholeheartedly. If you play pro, college, advanced, like elite high school, AAA, I'd have no issue taking shots in this chest protector off the shelf, which is pretty crazy to say, I think, because there's been, like I said, in the earlier phases of this video, there's not any retail chest protector that I've been able to put on and just take shots from and feel safe. Like, yeah, that's kind of the case with all of the chest protectors across the brands, except for Warrior now. I don't feel that any of them have really stood up to what the pro moniker is on their labels. So I hope that changes in the future. Honestly, I don't have anything against any brands, but this one happened to be the one that actually can back up its pro label. And that really blew me away. So I know I'm like a Warrior guy already, but I don't know. I don't know what to tell you. Like that's the facts of it. I've worn a Passau, which I did like a lot. I've worn a Kineski. I've worn a Vaughn. I've worn a Brian's just a little bit, but I didn't, at the time, I don't think I gave it enough time to break in. I had one of the X1s or X2. So yeah, I will hope that in the future that these retail units from all of the brands can live up to their pro name. But for right now, I can tell you that this one does 100%. It has a good sizing. I actually think it looks kind of cool. I had that Kineski for a bit, and I know it's like the NHL regulation. There's just so much shoulder roll. This doesn't have it. You definitely look really big in it. And to be honest, there could be some more mobility. I feel like I give away, I mean, not mobility, but in where I'm looking over my shoulder, like around your head. I can adjust that a bit. I think I've dialed it in as much as I can, but if you're looking for more head rotation, there is a non-Pro Plus version that wasn't actually available in the store, so that's actually why I didn't get that. I can't say for sure that it matches this in every way, shape, or form, but as I understand, it may behave a little better as far as looking over your shoulder or just general size in the jersey. But what I have this under is a NHL Adidas 60G Pro practice jersey. So it does fit under there well. I mean, you can see it in my videos. You've probably seen it for the past few months. And I think it works great. I really like the unit. I think if a newer unit came out that was a little more in the regulation spec, but you know, had the same protection, I don't think they're going to down the protection on any of these. The materials kind of are all there. The only thing that I would say is like there's a potential that your team's jersey might not be big enough for it. So I saw one interview, maybe I'll link it or something, but someone had heard some rumor that they are changing this and shrinking it down a little bit. So I would look for that maybe in the future. If you're looking to buy right now and there's like a deal on this and you don't mind like some bulkiness, this is highly, highly recommended. It's super protective, super like arm-wise mobile, and it covers well because it's big. So yeah, I meant for this to be a very short video. I'm probably rambling a bit now, but I love this thing. And I will definitely stick in the Warrior line in the future when it comes to their chest protectors, just because Pro meant Pro when I bought this unit. I really don't like that Pro doesn't always mean Pro when you're buying a chest protector, when you're spending like $500+ on these things. So I think it's kind of crappy for a parent to see that, not understand that it doesn't mean that. Like you could be in, I've skated against high schoolers in Minnesota that can blast shots quite hard, and with a retail unit bruised me up pretty well. So I think you're gonna be able to be in this unit for a long time. I don't see this thing falling apart anywhere. There's just some general fabric wear on the chin part. That's honestly probably from my chin cup Velcro, the bristly side rubbing up against it. I kind of changed that a little bit. So yeah, I recommend it. It's great. It's a Pro chest protector, labeled Pro, that can stand up to NHL pros. So yeah, if you have any questions, like I said, ask them in the comments. I'll try and get back to you best I can. If you have any questions about this gear, any of the other gear I've used in the past, or how it compares to that. And if you're new to the channel, welcome. Please follow, like, subscribe, all that stuff, and keep the puck out of the net.